Feeling like you're navigating your tech or digital career solo, even when surrounded by colleagues? Women in male dominated or highly technical fields know the challenge. Success isn't just about skills, it's about connections. Welcome to the PhD with Women on IT Hack the Future. My name is Jamil Navarrosa, and today's PhD Positivity Hack delivered will be by our guest, Dr. Tracy Brower. Our topic for today is titled Critical Connections. Before we start our discussion, I want to take a moment to shine a spotlight on some incredible achievements from our uh, from our community. Join our former Positivity Hack delivered guest, Hope Yanling Yin, PCC at the Women in Tech Global Conference 2026, happening this May 12 to 15, 2026 in virtual session. Her session titled Supercharge Your Strategic Communication and Public Speaking with AI delivers hands-on strategies and live demos to help you speak with authority, clarity, and purpose in the AI era. Best of luck to you, Hope. Great news! The Woman of Stature Awards South Africa Gala Dinner is just around the corner, and a limited number of early bird tickets are available until 15th of February. Don't miss your chance to be part of unforgettable evening celebrating extraordinary women. Now, let's go back to our topic, critical connections. In this episode, we explore how building the right relationship can boost confidence, performance, and career longevity. Join our amazing returning guest, Dr. Tracy Brower, PhD, sociologist, and author of The Secret to Happiness at Work, bringing work to life in her upcoming book, Critical Connections, as she shares actionable strategies to identify, nurture, and protect the critical connections that matter most in your career. Tracy Brower is the Vice President of the Workplace Insights and Steelcase, a senior contributor to Forbes and Fast Company, and a global recognized thought leader whose TEDx talks has been viewed over 8.6 million times. Wow! From mentors and sponsors to peers and community, learn how to strengthen relationships without dialing back ambition and take one practical steps this month to grow a connection that counts. Let's redefine networking and career growth. Tune in, mark your calendar, and hit subscribe for more actionable insights and inspiring stories. Um, ah, 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 ah. Please join me giving a warm welcome to Dr. Tracy. And Dr. Tracy, thank you so much for joining us again for the fourth time. So, to start,
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Thank you, Jamil, and thanks to the show and the whole team. I can't believe it's been four times. That's sort of shocking, but yeah, I love you all and love the show and love the work that you're doing. So thanks for having me.
and we are pleased to have you. And where in the world are you today, Dr. Tracy?
Oh, I'm in Michigan in the United States, and there's cold and tons of snow. I'm I'm very eager for spring. I know it will come, but for now it's still very snowy and cold.
Wow, that's very nice. So, our first question. Um, the tech landscape is shifting so fast, and we often hear that who you know is just as important as what you know. Dr. Tracy, you're right about critical connections. Why are relationships especially critical for women navigating careers in tech and digital fields today?
Yeah, I actually think that this is such an important time and such an important group for us to think about, women in tech and women who are on the forefront of digital. I think one of the reasons is the fast growth. There is so much growth and there's so much change in the tech field. And when we have connections with each other, when we have really strong relationships, strong friendships, strong colleagues that we can count on, I think that really gives a sense of stability. And the research shows that it gives us a sense of stability as well. It won't stop the wind from blowing forward. It won't stop the changes. We don't want to do that anyway. We want to be resilient. But friends give us that sense of stability. They remind us who we are. They remind us what's important. They are people that we can go to when we need support. So one is, I think about the fast growth that makes this unique, and friendship is so important and connections are so important there. I think another thing is that fast growth and lots of change mean lots of opportunity. And so the more that we know more people in our network, I think we can be really sort of benefiting from that in terms of who can connect us and who can keep us really sort of appropriately entangled in our network, right? Like we want to be really connected throughout the network. So that network is another element I think that's important. And then the other thing is that when women are in tech and digital, I mean, a lot of times that means you're just spending a lot more time with tech and digital. And you may not have as much opportunity at work to connect with other people, to make friends. You may be sitting with your computer more than you're sitting with other people in a meeting, depending on your role, of course. But I think when we have really great connections at work, outside of work, that's a really important balance to the time that we're spending in front of the screen, to the time that we're spending with tech. Because when we spend more time with real live people, that actually contributes to our mental health and our well-being pretty significantly. So connections end up being especially important when they're not as natural in the time that we're spending from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
In our community, we talk a lot about the latest tech and getting certified. So it's easy to focus only on our work outputs. In the high speed world of tech, why do you think we sometimes forget about the human relationships that actually make our work possible?
Yeah, this is a big deal too. Sometimes I think of it as empty calories, right? Like if you love some kind of candy, like I don't know, candy corn or something, which tends to be very polarizing. People either love it or hate it, right? Or a type of candy that you have in your, environment. You can eat and eat and eat that candy, but it's not going to nourish you, and you're going to end up, having nutrition deficits because you're just living on candy, right? That is, I think, what can happen if we're so focused on technology and connecting with technology. We feel like we're connected. We've got our, how many TikTok followers, or we have our how many Instagram followers, or we have our, Facebook friends, depending on if you're on Facebook, right? Or you've got your LinkedIn connections. But do you have people that you can really call when you're really in need? And so that's what I mean by empty calories. We might feel like we're getting what we need. We're getting likes, or we're getting shares, or we're getting engagement online. And that may actually get in the way of real world relationships. So one of the things we know is that as we're spending more time connecting online, that's fine, right? Like we can still build relationships and get to know people, especially virtually when we're in situations like this. But we want to make sure that we're not replacing real world relationships. We want to make sure that we're still having time for coffee and reaching out to a friend and being able to share something that we're going through, or give advice to them when they're going through something. So it's so important that we're able to really balance, and that we don't let tech replace our human relationships.
It's one thing to be the only woman in meeting, but it's another thing to feel completely isolated in your role. You talk about the difference between being alone and being lonely. How does that show up for women working in male-dominated or highly technical fields?
Yeah, this one is really interesting as well, because we talk a lot about loneliness. 50% of people globally say they're lonely. In increasing numbers of people say they do not have friends. They do not feel connected to their colleagues. 69% of people say they wish they had closer relationships with their coworkers. So loneliness is definitely part of our narrative right now. And we want to make sure that we're connected. Having 2 or 3 close friends is super correlated with health outcomes. It's correlated with things like cancer and dementia and overall mental health, longevity, heart disease. And so having 2 or 3 close friends makes a huge difference. That is based on research out of Brigham Young University. But there is a difference between being lonely and alone. Like, we focus on loneliness, but it's actually very cool if we like our alone time. This isn't about kind of everybody has to become an extrovert, right? We can definitely be on a continuum between how many relationships and how deep we want those relationships to be, compared to more or less. And so being alone and if feeling good about that is largely a question of control. Like, if we've been invited to go out with friends and we're like, no, I'm good being cozy on the couch tonight, we're less likely to feel lonely because we've made the choice to be on our own. On the other hand, if we don't feel like we have friends that we can, go hang out with, then we're more likely to feel lonely. The other thing, there's research on the amount of time that we're spending. So if you spend about 75% of your time overall by yourself, you may start to push into feeling lonely. Again, that depends on, what your own preferences are. But I think we're wise to consider it's perfectly healthy to spend time by yourself, enjoy time with yourself, be able to read the book or do the cooking or take the hike or walk your dog on your own. Those are fine. I think the other thing about you talked about, right, like being in a male dominated profession, and how does being alone or lonely relate there? There's also really interesting research that we prefer homophily. That is, we tend to be most attracted to people who are like us, look like us, sound like us, think like us. That's kind of our automatic. And there is research that we are most happy when about 50% of our network is different from us. They just have different points of view, different life experiences, different backgrounds, all of that. So we want both. We want people who are more like us. We want people who are more different from us in terms of what they bring. So if there are women working in a male-dominated profession, we may feel less opportunity for that kind of automatic homophily, right? Like, there are less people who maybe feel as similar to us. So then we've got to be really intentional about how we build relationships with people who have different points of view and lifestyles, backgrounds, and with people who are more similar to us. So there's a real opportunity to be intentional about building relationships.
A lot of people think of networking as a soft skill, but your work shows there is actual data behind how it affects our success. What does the research say about how connection impacts confidence, performance, and career longevity? Longevity, especially for women in demanding roles.
Yeah, this is really interesting too, right? Like, there's just so much work going on in this field in terms of how we connect and how we make friends. So one of the things that's true is when we have really strong connections with other people, we are likely to feel more confident. It is because we feel like there's somebody in our corner. So confidence is about, I'm going to put my idea out there. I'm going to be able to defend my idea. I feel strong enough in myself that I can listen to different points of view and maybe change my point of view if I get new information or different information. When we have strong connections with other people, we have that strong foundation and we can feel more confident to kind of put ourselves forward. That's one in terms of how our connections relate to confidence. Another is that our connections can really help us with performance, right? Like, when we have great connections with other people and we're trusting with them, they give us feedback, they give us suggestions, they help us be better, they, tell us if we have spinach in our teeth or something that we can improve, right? So really strong connections help us perform better because we're getting feedback from them. Another thing about great connections is that we tend to do better work when we know the people around us. Like if we feel like our work is just transactional, like we're just turning the crank, we're just, pushing our deliverable to the person that we barely know, we will tend to follow through and follow up less effectively. We may still follow up and follow through, but we may be less committed to it. If we are super connected to the people that we're working with, we will tend to kind of put in the extra effort. We know who our deliverable is going to. We feel that level of responsibility and social obligation. That's a really good thing in terms of our motivation. And then finally, absolutely, we are helped with our career growth, our career longevity, when we have people that we can count on who can say, hey, there's this cool new opportunity you should know about, or hey, I recommended you for this role, or hey, you weren't in the room, but I really advocated for you in that meeting. Those are the reasons that connections are so important in terms of our confidence, our performance, and our ability to grow in our career.
And we have a wonderful comment here from our wonderful, amazing woman connect. Laura Elliott, she says, what a wonderful point. Support is key. Love the idea of staying connected to help share opportunities too. Thank you, Miss Laura, for your beautiful comment. So, Dr. Tracy, when we stop working together or celebrating our wins as a team, we miss out on more than just a chat. Do we pay a happiness price when we work all by ourselves? And how does that lack of connection actually hurt our work?
Yeah. I just put, I love quotable quotes. I think they're a really cool way to learn, and they're kind of sticky, right? They stick with you. And there's that great quote by Cicero who says that having great friends doubles your joy and halves or divides your pain. And that is so true at work as well. Like we understand ourselves through our connections with others. We understand ourselves and we have a sense of identity based on our role. And we tend to be happy when we have shared experiences, right? Like when we go through something together, when we achieve something together, when we struggle through something, we tend to bond. In fact, going through hard times is one of the number one reasons that we bond really deeply, because we just get to know other people and we see them when they need help and we offer help. And so when we are in those common experiences, it really helps us to bond and helps us to feel more connected. Not that we're looking for top experiences, but when we happen on them, it's really, really helpful to be connected. And to your point, Jamil, when we're going through something really cool and awesome, we want to share that, right? Like you achieve something or you worked hard or something happens in your personal life and you're really excited about it. It's not near as exciting if you can't share it with somebody. And the opposite is true. When we're just really going through something hard, we really want the opportunity to let down our hair, to talk through that with somebody else. In fact, work is a really important place that we make friends. 75% of people say they make their friends at work. That is the number 2 place we make our best friends. The number 1 place we make our long-lasting friendships is like college and university. So that's kind of cool. But work is a primary place that we make friends. And part of the reason for that is that we know people over time, right? Like we see them, even if we only work together a year and a half, right? We get to know people over time. That's one reason that work is a great place to make friends. Another reason that work is a great place to make friends is because we talk about relationship stuff and task stuff. So I get to know you at the coffee machine and we talk about, oh my gosh, I'm building a house or you're moving, and we just get to know each other at a personal level. But we also get to know each other through tasks, right? Like we roll up sleeves and we do the hard project together. So that's a second reason that we get to know people at work. But the third reason that work is an important place that we build relationships is we go through ups and downs together, right? Like we see the person on the day they walk in and they're like, walking on sunshine and things are awesome. And we see them on the day that they might be going through something really hard. So we see the ups and downs and we're able to support people through the ups and downs. So the reason that friendship is so important, that connections are so important, that colleague relationships are so important, is so we can celebrate together and so that we can get support from each other when we're going through challenging times as well.
I do agree with you, Doc Tracy. And I have wonderful friends here at my work with my girls. And so, Doc Tracy, IT roles are notoriously high pressure, and the risk of hitting a wall is very real for many of us. We talk a lot about burnout in IT. Does having a critical connection act as a shield against that feeling of being overwhelmed?
Yeah, totally. I love your language. It's a shield against being overwhelmed and against burnout. Yeah, burnout is actually really interesting. There's a overlap between burnout and depression. If you look at kind of the mental health research, there is some overlap between the two. Burnout is unique because it's about feeling trapped, like there's no place I can go. I don't know what I can do next in terms of my career. Burnout is also characterized by feeling ineffective, like nothing I'm doing is working. I'm trying so hard and it's just not coming together for me. And then burnout is also characterized by just kind of feeling grumpy or snarky, right? You just kind of you feel negative, you feel prickly, right? Like things that might not have bothered you in the past are all of a sudden kind of bugging you or annoying you in new ways. And connections are helpful to working through that burnout because they give us a sense of significance, right? Like if we're feeling ineffective, people around us who care about us, who are relying on us, can help us and remind us how effective and how important we are. We talked about connections can give us a sense of new opportunities or the next opportunity. They can help to broaden our perspective so we feel less trapped. And when people are positive around us, there is a contagious effect. This has been demonstrated in network science, where it's called emotional contagion or emotional spillover. When we're around people who are more positive, it just tends to impact us positively as well. So that can kind of help that prickly factor. We all need moments when we're not at our best. We all need the opportunity to kind of be at our worst with somebody that we really, really, really trust. But it's also really, really great to have kind of that shield in terms of our connections. And overwhelm is relative here too and relevant here. We are so overwhelmed by the amount of information that is coming through to us. That is academically demonstrated. And there is not only more information coming at us, but there's more negative information coming at us. That is quantitatively true. When we have negative information coming at us, it's more triggering, it sticks in our memory longer, we tend to share it with others more, so it ends up having this kind of ripple effect that's not so positive. So we are legitimately overwhelmed. And friends and connections can shield us there as well, because we can get kind of sucked in, right? You can get sucked into your social media. You can lose perspective and start to feel like, oh my gosh, like what world are we living in right now? And friends can help us expand that. Friends can give us their point of view. Friends can give us advice. We can, go on a hike with a friend and get away from social media. We can ask friends what new information do they have that might be different than what we're seeing in terms of our overwhelm. So connections can absolutely be a shield. I love your language against burnout and against overwhelm as well.
Oh, that's a very nice answer. Most of us have a very specific, often uncomfortable image in our heads when we hear the word networking. How does your concept of connection challenge the way we typically think about networking and career growth?
Yeah, network can be the ick, right? A lot of us are like, oh, please don't make me go do networking. There's new data on social skills, and large numbers and increasing numbers of people say they do not have social skills. I don't feel comfortable walking into a room. I don't feel comfortable mixing and mingling. I don't know how to start a conversation. I'm not sure I'm comfortable keeping eye contact. And how on earth do I have the right handshake, right? Like literally, people are saying that those kinds of skills they're struggling with. And those are all networking skills, right? I think that as we consider the research on connection, we can think about not networking in terms of like superficial, manipulative stuff, but in terms of real relationships. And I think that changes the game, right? Like if we're just going to a meeting or an association event and we just are trying to shake as many hands as we can and meet as many people and think about where that next opportunity might be coming from, that can really be draining. On the other hand, if we think about networking as just the opportunity to get to know people, the opportunity to be curious about people, the opportunity to create new relationships, the opportunity to, you know, connect with somebody and feel a sense of empathy, that goes a really long way. And here's something else that I think is really cool when we talk about networking, and that is the power of weak ties. So, strong ties are those close relationships that we have, family or friends or coworkers, people we've known a while, right? They're close relationships. We also have weak ties. Those are people we don't know as well, we don't stay super in touch with, but we can reach out and ask for help if we want. Most new opportunities, statistically, come from weak ties. So that's a cool way to think about networking as well. The reason that most new opportunities come from weak ties is by definition, people who are further outside of your network or kind of on the periphery of your network have access to information that you don't necessarily have and your close connections don't have. So they're the ones who are hearing about the new opportunity. They're the ones who know about the role that just got posted. They're the ones who know about the cool, advisory board opportunity or volunteer opportunity that might be coming up. So as we think about being in tech in this fast changing environment and all the ways that we need to keep up, those weak ties can help us keep up, and our close ties can help keep us grounded as well. So it's really fun to think about networking from those different points of view, I think.
We've all been to those events where it feels like everyone is just looking to collect business cards.
Yeah.
Networking often feels like transactional coffee chats. How do we move from a what can you do for me mindset to a how can we grow together mindset?
Oh my gosh, so well said. Instead of a what can you do for me mindset, a how do we grow together mindset. That's it, right? Like, how do we think more about how we're helping other people? All the research I've done on happiness, one of the things that people do is they try to achieve happiness for its own sake. And that doesn't work. Statistically, you're less likely to be happy if you're just looking for happiness as its own end. Instead, you're better to focus not on yourself and your happiness, but to focus on others. And that's part of the reason that happiness for its own sake doesn't work. When we focus on ourselves, it's actually negatively correlated with happiness and mental health. When we focus on others, it's positively correlated. We're more likely to be happy when we're thinking about how do we make a contribution to others? How do we lean into our relationships? How are we empathetic toward others? How are we giving instead of getting? And so when we think about networking, we can move the needle instead of thinking, what can I get from this person? What do they know? Might they be the sale opportunity, right? Instead, we think about what can I give? How can I contribute? What is the listening ear that this person maybe needs right now? That shift in focus really not only shifts our mindset, but it can shift our behavior as well. We become more pro-social. We're checking in, we're asking questions, we're listening, we're offering support. Maybe not advice, but support. And those can change the way we think about networking, and they can change the quality of our relationships that we're making in the process.
When you're just starting out in the industry, the sheer number of people you could talk to can be paralyzing. For women early in their careers, what kind of connection matter most? Peers, mentors, sponsors, or community, and how should they prioritize?
Yeah. I don't know, I'm such a connector person, right? I'm so into this connection topic, that I think more is actually more. And again, if you're more on the introverted side of the continuum, that's totally cool. I think we really want to look for people who nurture us. There was a global study that was done in 4 waves with about 40,000 people. And coming out of the pandemic and over the last 5 years or so, most people say they have reduced the size of their network, but they have increased the quality of their relationships. And what they've been doing is they've been calling, they've been deciding who I want to spend time with, like what's most important to me, who are the people who nurture me most, who are the people who nourish me most, and who are the people that I can offer support to and nurturance to. So that's really healthy when we're selective about who we're creating relationships with. That's one point. Another point is, I think when we're prioritizing those relationships, we definitely want to look for peers, people who are kind of at that same point in their career that we are, and we can exchange notes and kind of have that safe harbor relationship where we can say, oh, I really messed this up. What should I do about it? Or, oh, I'm not sure how to handle this. What should I do here? Those safe harbor kind of peer relationships can be really, really helpful. That's one kind of relationship to nurture. Another kind of relationship to nurture is really, really looking for mentors, people who can coach, people that you can come to and say, oh, I struggled with this. What advice do you have from your expert perspective? So you want to build mentors and mentoring relationships with experts. Those do not have to be long, long term. Like you might have a mentor relationship that lasts a year or so, and then you might have another mentor relationship, and that's totally cool. But I think another thing to prioritize is mentors that you can go to for support. And then the third relationship that I think we need to really nurture is people who will advocate for us. Like we all have people who are, generally supportive and they're friendly and we can talk to them if we want to. But we really need a couple of people who will go to the mat for us, advocate for us, recommend us, speak up on our behalf. And we develop those relationships by getting to know people, by being transparent, by spending time with people, by inviting them out for coffee, by inviting them for lunch, by doing projects together so they get to know our capabilities, by raising our hands and offering to do the new project. Those are the people that I think we want in our network, is that safe haven peer, that coach and mentor, and that person who will advocate for us really strongly.
There is often a fear that investing time in people might take away from the time we need to crush our career goals. How can women protect relationships and well being without stepping back from ambition?
Yeah. This is a deep breath moment, I think. There is research that women are perceived differently when they are very ambitious as compared to men. And so this is not good news, but I think it's eyes wide open news. Like we want to know what is facing us. One of the things that we find in the research is there's a likability bias. When men are ambitious and they're leading like a meeting and they're unlikable, people are still willing to do the tasks that men ask them to do. On the other hand, if women are leading and asking people to do tasks and, a meeting or a project, if they are unlikable, people are less likely to take action as compared to when men are unlikable. That is bad news. It is sad to share that. It's real. And so I think what we want to do is just be aware of that kind of thing, right? So we can be ambitious. We can absolutely look to accomplish all we can. And we want to build relationships in the process. When people like us, when they trust us, when they feel like we have our best interests and their best interests in mind, that makes a really, really big difference. In fact, there's a really cool book I just read called The Paradox of Power. And it talks about we give power to people that we perceive to be interested in our well being and interested in the well being of the group. Isn't that cool? Like we tend to give power and influence. We tend to rely on, we tend to look to, we tend to take direction from people when we believe they care about us and about the community as a whole, in addition to their own needs as well. So, as women, we can be ambitious, we can seek to accomplish, we can seek to do our best at the same time that we're looking out for others and at the same time that we're being empathetic. And that actually affects our well being. Like, we don't have to give up our well being in order to do our best, right? We're going to set boundaries, we're going to be smart about how much we're pushing ourselves. We're going to make sure that we're attending to our well being. We're taking time, we're getting enough sleep, we're hydrating, we're reminding ourselves about how, awesome we are so that we're appropriately building our esteem. And I like to say, when you play small, it doesn't do the world any good, right? The world needs the best from you. So we really do have an opportunity to embrace ambition, embrace the opportunity to accomplish, and to be concerned about others and to be concerned about contributing to the community. It's really a both and.
Oh, that's very nice. And Doc Tracy, the brilliant jerk or lone genius trope is still very prevalent in tech culture. There's a common myth that to make to make it in tech, you have to be a lone wolf. How does your upcoming book, Critical Connections, debunk that idea?
It definitely debunks that idea, right? I think it is really interesting. If you look at a lot of the stories about like founders or people who are super successful, we tend to see that, oh, they did it by themselves, and we don't tend to see all of the people who helped them along the way. But the only way we are going to succeed is with other people, especially as the world becomes more complex, right? Like, none of us is as smart as all of us. None of us has enough brains to do it all by ourselves, right? It's like a soccer game. You absolutely need all the positions being played with strength on that soccer game. And you might be the most brilliant forward, you might be the most brilliant goalie, but you are not going to win that game by yourself. And so I really do think that we need to reach out to each other and make those connections. It doesn't mean that we can't also be brilliant forwards or brilliant goalies, but the more we're helping others, the more we're helping ourselves. I actually just wrote about this morning. There's a really cool concept of reciprocity in our human relationships. Our instinct is to give back when people give to us. And that is social glue. Like, that is what keeps communities together. And they did some really cool experiments on this, actually. They did this experiment multiple times. They had people in a restaurant and they, ate their meal. And then the server brought them their check. And when their check came with a mint or a candy, servers got a bigger tip. So there was this like reciprocity that was happening subconsciously. Then they did this other experiment. This was a one-time experiment where they were asking somebody to buy raffle tickets. And in the process of the ask, they gave them a soft drink as well. And when the people got a soft drink along with the ask to buy the raffle tickets, they bought more tickets, and they actually said they liked the person better that was selling the tickets. So it was these just really fun experiments about reciprocity and the fact that we tend to give when others give to us. It's our natural kind of way that we do things. So what we want to think about in terms of our work and our careers, especially in a tech world, is we want to give to others. And when we are giving, we're actually really, really paying back for ourselves. We're not getting it all done as the lone wolf. We're getting it all done when we're contributing to other people, and we're doing good work for ourselves as well.
We want everyone listening to live today with a clear path forward for their own professional circle. If a woman watching this live stream wants to strengthen one critical connection this month, What's a pragmatic way to start?
I think we can do two things. One, I think we look for other people who need help and we offer to mentor or coach. That might be a short term relationship, it might be a longer term relationship, but let's look for somebody else that we can offer to help. And secondly, I think we can look for a mentor for ourselves. Like, really reach out and find somebody that we can ask for advice, that we can ask for coaching. All of us have something to learn and all of us have something to teach. And so I think part of creating a critical connection is offering advice or support to somebody else and looking for feedback and suggestions and coaching from someone else as well.
Doc Tracy, you are actually a triple threat on the show now, and this is your fourth appearance. And for our audience, if you're new here or if you just want to brush up on her incredible insights, you have to go back and check out her previous episodes on our comment section. So, Dr. Tracy, it's your fourth episode, and we always want to these questions. I think these questions. I think you answered these questions in your previous episodes, and we still want to hear your answers. So, Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Women are like tea bags. We don't know our true strength until we are in hot water." In life, how are you in hot water, Dr. Tracy? How are you brewing?
I love it. That's funny. I think I'm in hot water because I'm so busy. Like, I've been just traveling and on the road, and I love what I'm doing. I really do. Like, I love what I do when I get there. But I'm not always thrilled to be like sitting in an airport or sitting in another hotel room or away from my family. So I think the way that I'm brewing, if I use that analogy, which I really like, I think the way that I'm brewing is just by enjoying the time that I'm with people when I'm there. Like, I was actually I did a keynote presentation in Florida this past weekend, and the weather was terrible coming home. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I going to make my connection? Am I going to be stranded somewhere along the way? And I got home and it was just so worth it. Like, it was a great conference and I met people and we had wonderful conversations. And I thought, it's worth it. So I think that's the way I'm brewing through it, is to absolutely focus on how it's worth it, even though it can be stressful in the moment.
What is the number one book you can sit and think, oh, I wish I read before I started my career?
Yeah, there's so many really, really good books right now. I would say that Power Paradox book has been really, really helpful to me. And also there's some work by Johann Hari where he talks about kind of our disconnected reality. Those are really, really good, and I've enjoyed those a lot.
Let's imagine that you could meet anyone in the world for a private breakfast. Who would it be and where would you choose to meet?
Yeah. I would love to meet Warren Buffett. I think that he's just built such a reputation as a leader who has integrity, as a leader who is kind of minimalist in his own consumption, as somebody who's really smart and done amazing things from a financial perspective, but who's also just been a really accessible leader. And we've got this like diner in my hometown. It's called the Windmill Restaurant, and they have the best omelets. And I don't know, I think it was built in, I don't know, like the 1950s or something. It's never been updated. So it's just this really great atmosphere with great food. And so that's where I would go.
Oh, that's very nice. And lastly, can you please give us your favorite life lesson quote?
Yes, I am such a fan of gratitude. I just feel like gratitude moves the needle so much on happiness and on our own satisfaction and our fulfillment. And there is this great quote by Robert Brault, and he says, enjoy the little things in life because someday you will realize they were the big things. And I just think that's such a good one, right? Like, there's so many small things that happen, time with our families, time with our friends, things we're doing at work that we really like. And we may brush by them or take them for granted in the short term, but we really need to just take a minute and appreciate them, because they are the things that we'll look back on and appreciate and say, oh, I remember that time, or remember that great experience. So I think the more we can be kind of grateful for those in the moment, the better. So I love that quote. It's one that just always sticks with me.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tracy, for being with us here again. And one of the girls here says you are one of our favorite guests here in our podcast. And we have a comment here with Patrick. Hello, Patrick. So she says, terrific show, ladies. Great to see you, Tracy. Back
Um,
on PhD. Thank you so much, Patrick, for watching. And that's it from our 206 of the PhD live stream. Thanks to our guest, Dr. Tracy Brower. To stay updated and ensure you never miss a positivity hack delivered, follow Women on IT and turn on notifications to be alerted once the video has been released. Next week, we have another amazing guest, Miss Heather Johnson, and we will talk about marketing that finds you, the app changing how we connect. And thank you to our fabulous team, Herminia, Natalie, and Racy. And we also want to extend a special thanks to Miss Laura Elliott and Patrick for joining the conversation and sharing such thoughtful comments during our live stream. We truly appreciate the engagement. As always, our positivity quote comes from positive thinking only and goes look from positive in something positive in each day, even if some days you have to look a little harder. Today is your day. Hack the future, hack the positivity you want. Thank you.
Thank you.